This episode of the Faith and Finance Podcast is brought to you in part by Christian Credit Counselors. If credit card debt is weighing on your heart and you're unsure where to begin, our trusted partner, Christian Credit Counselors, is here to help. Their debt management program can help you pay off your credit card debt up to 80% faster, while ensuring you honor your financial commitments in full. Take the first step toward financial freedom today. Visit ChristianCreditCounselors.org or call 800-557-1985. 18th century Irish statesman Edmund Burke once said, "If we command our wealth, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth commands us, we are poor indeed." Hi, I'm Rob West. It's a familiar question. Can money buy happiness? We've all thought if I had just a little bit more, life would be better. But that thought rarely delivers what it promises. Today we'll explore the role money plays in our happiness and why it so often falls short. And then it's on to your calls at 800-525-7000. This is Faith and Finance, biblical wisdom for your financial journey. We don't know how much Edmund Burke studied his Bible, but his words reflect a timeless truth. Money can't buy happiness. And if we're not careful, it can make life worse. Paul warned Timothy in 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Expecting money to fix our problems or fill our hearts is a recipe for disappointment. Financial teacher Ron Blue explores this in his book Generous Living. He notes that there's a major disconnect between what people say and what they do about money. We all agree that money can't buy happiness, yet nearly every message around us insists that it can. The world doesn't just tempt us to spend more, it disciples us to depend on more. It teaches us that joy is something we can purchase rather than receive. Think about advertising. Commercials tell us that the right car, clothes, or gadget will finally make life better. The message beneath it? That more money equals more joy. But often the opposite is true. The more we have, the more pressure we feel to protect and manage it. Instead of owning our possessions begin to own us. And when our hearts become attached to things that fade, anxiety always follows. History and Scripture prove it to be true. John D. Rockefeller, worth about $30 billion in today's dollars, once said, "I have made many millions, but they have brought me no happiness." Henry Ford, another billionaire industrialist, admitted, "I was happier when I was doing a mechanic's job." And King Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes 5:10, "He who loves money will not be satisfied with money. This also is vanity." 3 men, 3 eras, same truth. Money can't satisfy the soul. Ron Blue explains that this confusion stems from 2 wrong assumptions. First, that more money brings more freedom and satisfaction. Second, that more money removes fear and worry. In reality, both are false. He writes, "Since there are always unlimited ways to spend limited dollars, it doesn't matter whether you make $20,000 or $200,000 a year. You will always have choices to make. More money simply means more choices and more complexity. Instead of freeing us, wealth can create anxiety. The more you have to lose. We see this when markets fall and panic rises. And yet, even in those moments, God invites us to a deeper trust, to remember that His provision isn't measured by our portfolios, but by His promises. So what's the solution? It's what we often say on this program. The only way to be free from financial fear is to realize it's not your money. You're a steward, not an owner. Everything you have belongs to God. When you accept that, your trust shifts from your paycheck or portfolio to the Lord Himself. Philippians 4:19 promises, "And my God will supply every need of yours according to His riches and glory in Christ Jesus." God promises provision, not luxury. He provides enough for His purpose in your life, not necessarily for every preference. What He asks in return is faithfulness, to manage His resources wisely, give generously, and hold loosely what He entrusts to you. There's nothing wrong with enjoying His provision, but things go wrong when we expect money to give us peace or security. Those can only come from God. Psalm 37, 3 through 5 says, "Trust in the Lord and do good. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." When our delight is in God, He reshapes our desires. We stop chasing what fades and start finding joy in what lasts. True wealth isn't measured in net worth. It's measured in contentment. When we command our wealth instead of being commanded by it, we experience real freedom. So can money buy happiness? Not the kind that lasts. It can buy comfort, convenience, even moments of pleasure, but only God can give joy that endures. True happiness is found when we trust Him as our provider, not our paycheck. As you trust God, you'll discover that freedom and joy don't come from having more money. They come from knowing that everything you have belongs to Him. Because when your hope rests in Christ and not in your wealth, you'll experience what Edmund Burke described centuries ago, true freedom that never fades. All right, your calls are next. Stick around. What does your money say about what you truly treasure? Hi, I'm Rob West, and I want to invite you into a 21-day journey through God's Word in my new devotional entitled, Our Ultimate Treasure. It'll help you align your heart and your money with what really lasts. With your generous one-time gift of $400 or more, or $35 a month before December 31st, we'll send you an early copy as our thank you. Just head to faithfi.com/give.
Faith and Finance is grateful for support from Sound Mind Investing. For more than 30 years, they've offered financial wisdom for living well. SMI provides step-by-step guidance for do-it-yourself investors, from those just getting started to those getting ready for retirement. More information, including a short video webinar on profit and peace of mind no matter what's happening in the market, is available at soundmindinvesting.org.
Well, if there's something on your mind today in your financial life, this is the place. We'll help you think about it in light of biblical wisdom. I'm Rob West. This is Faith and Finance. Our phone number is 800-525-7000. Hey, if you love the program, maybe you've found something valuable in the past, you'd like to be a part of supporting our work, that'd be great. We're listener supported here in the final quarter of the year. Yeah. This is a really important time for us to hear from listeners, supporters, those who can help us close out the calendar year strong. And a great way to do that is a gift of any amount at faithfi.com/give. But in particular, if you would consider becoming a FaithFi partner, those are folks who support us at $35 a month or more, or at least $400 one time per year. And as a thank you, we send you as a partner quarterly a ministry update so you can stay in the know on what's happening here at FaithFi. 4 issues of our incredible magazine, Faithful Steward, sent to you. Also, each of our new studies and devotionals will be mailed to you, and you'll get pro access to the FaithFi app, where you'll be able to connect all your bank accounts, checking accounts, manage your money in the app. And we've got some incredible new features coming out at the first of next year, where you'll be able to create rhythms around the intersection of your faith and your financial decision-making. It's going to be really amazing what we're able to produce there. And we'll have our studies and devotionals that will be coming out in a digital form. So you'll be able to go through them right there in the app, and it's going to be an incredible experience. So if you'd like to know more, just go to faithfi.com/partner and check out our new website while you're there. All right, let's head to the phones. Headed to Indiana. Hi, Jake. Go ahead.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to first ask, I am 30 years old, and I'm looking at, I've heard a few people recommend that I should look into potentially starting the process of looking at purchasing long-term care insurance. I want to make sure that as I continue to age and whatnot, I want to make sure I'm proactive in that regard and making sure that I'm protecting my assets and protecting the long-term care aspect. I'm healthy and whatnot, but just wanting to be proactive in that manner. I wasn't sure what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, it's a good question. Would you do a paid-up policy, and do you have the ability to put a big chunk of money in it, or would you be looking to just pay, regular premiums?
I was looking at either or. I wasn't sure if that would be something that I should take out of my portfolio, take a portion out and just do a paid up aspect, or if I should do a pay per month type of
Yeah.
smaller premium, and then kind of going from there with that.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge is that the whole long-term care insurance, Mark, with a dedicated policy has just been obliterated. Really these days, folks are really looking at the hybrid policies, where you have the ability to have a death benefit and then use a portion of it for long-term care while you're alive, just simply because there has just been dramatic increases in the cost of these premiums as the cost of healthcare has gone up. And, I know people that bought them early, in their 40s, thinking they would lock in a really high quality policy. But, now here they are, or even in their 30s, and here they are 20 years later, and they're dropping them because they're just so expensive. And so I think just given the increases that we've seen, I just wouldn't take that kind of risk on paying into this policy, for 20 or 30 years, only to find that it just doesn't make sense anymore on paper. So if you're going to do that, you'd probably want to, do a paid up kind of policy where you have no premium risk in terms of the increases, but then you have to be able to justify, dropping a massive amount of money in there because these things are not cheap. So I think that, again, goes back to these hybrid policies, which really, I think, are what most people are doing now. Sometimes they're called linked benefits plans, and it combines the life insurance with the long-term care. And if you never need the long-term care, your heirs still get the death benefit. If you do need the care, you draw from the policy's value tax-free. And I think those can be good options, or better options, I should say, for people in their 40s to 60s who've built some assets and want to protect them. But often, we're kind of in a situation there where some people will say, if I've got over $1 million or I'm on track to by that season of life, I'll just self-insure and not spend all the money for an expensive permanent policy combined with long-term care, which can be costly. I'd rather take that money and get it compounded, for the next 35 years between, your 30s and your mid 60s, because you're going to end up with a lot more to show for it, and you'll have total flexibility. You won't have to rely on your need for long-term care and, all the fine print that goes along with it, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Thank you very much. And I wasn't sure also if you would recommend purchasing some annuities as well, or do you think that's something that I should add to my portfolio a little bit later in life?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan on annuities just because, they're complex, they're expensive, and often with the downside protection, you get an upside cap. And, the reason we get these 9+% average annual returns is those dramatic up years that we have. Even with the down years like 1929, 1987, 2000, the dot-com bubble burst, the 2008, 2009, the housing crisis, despite those, the pandemic, COVID, the market has done well because of those dramatic up years. The problem with the annuity is you give those up. And so they say, well, listen, we're going to give you a downside protection so you can't lose, but the most you're going to get is, let's say, 9%. So if the market's up 26%, you don't get any of that. They keep it. And that's how they pay, for these policies, not to mention they're expensive and just they're complex and so forth. So I would rather a young guy like you who's astute, who's really trying to, manage money wisely, I'd rather you get unlimited upside potential, without having that tied up in a complex insurance product. And then for your pure life insurance to protect a legitimate risk where you've got a loved one depending on your income, just get term insurance for that, but get all the term insurance you need so that, if you were to pass away, not only could that loved one fund their living expenses, until retirement would have kicked in, but they can pay off the mortgage. And if you have kids, fund college. I mean, you might get a $3 million policy, but the goal from the very beginning would be that once you reach retirement, you drop it because you don't need it anymore. That risk is gone. And that's the least expensive way to do that because you're just paying for the pure mortality expense. You're not paying for the savings vehicle as well. You do that in your retirement accounts and in your investment portfolios.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate that, and just trying to build as many resources as I can to be prepared for retirement when that time comes one day.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job. I'll tell you, Jake, the thing you're probably going to struggle with the most, just given how early you're starting and how well you're thinking about it, is answering the question, how much is enough? Because you'll likely, with the kind of years you're talking about for compounding, you'll likely overaccumulate. And I think that's just as much of a danger. And so I'd be asking myself now, how much lifestyle is enough? And I'm not telling you you need to live in poverty or, there's none of that here. It's just being intentional to say, what lifestyle has God called me to, above which I'll be able to accelerate my giving? And what is my ultimate finish line in terms of my assets, above which I could accelerate my giving? Those are going to be just as important as, where should I be investing? So hope that helps, Jake. Thanks for your call, my friend. Lord bless you. Back after this. Stay with us.
FaithFi is grateful for support from One Ascent. One Ascent believes that your values inspire why you invest and how they can inspire how you invest. One Ascent's goal is to provide solutions designed for every need and invest in businesses that bless the people and places God has made. They want to help investors do well by doing good, to explore a new way of investing that aligns with your values. More information is available at oneascent.com and by clicking Analyze My Investments.
Feeling burdened by credit card debt? As faithful stewards, we are called to manage our finances wisely. Christian credit counselors can help with a debt management program that allows you to pay off debt up to 80% faster, while honoring your commitments with integrity. Don't let debt hold you back from the life God has planned for you. Take the first step toward peace and financial freedom today. Visit ChristianCreditCounselors.org. That's ChristianCreditCounselors.org.
I'm so glad you're with us today on Faith and Finance. I so appreciate your questions, you tuning in, and listen, each day we just want to encourage you, cheer you on as you live as a faithful steward of God's resources and try to provide some wise counsel, recognizing, listen, we all make mistakes. Maybe we wish we would have started saving earlier or not taken on that debt or, whatever it is. But listen, we put everything at the foot of the cross. We serve a God who's in the business of restoration. We hold it loosely and we just seek to be found faithful one day at a time over a lifetime. And when we do that, I believe God honors that. Now, we will not be free from any challenges. We live in a fallen world. But when we apply biblical wisdom to our financial decisions, we put ourselves in a position to experience God's best. And that's certainly what we try to help you with each day on this program. Let's head right back to the phones to Georgia. Sheila, go ahead.
Hi. Hey, I'm a veteran, and I have a VA loan at 6.75%. I've been there just a year and 3 months. And I keep getting letters that I'm eligible for a VA IRLL, I think is the term.
Yeah.
So reduction. And I don't know whether to go ahead and do it. I'm a single mom. I'm 60, and I could definitely use some extra money during the month from a lower mortgage rate. But I don't know if now's the time to pull the trigger or should I wait? I just wondered what your thoughts were.
Yeah. It really does come down to that interest rate on it. So, that does make it pretty streamlined. So the VA offers, with little to no cost, what they call a streamline finance or the IRRL. And, if you don't have a lot in the way of savings, it's probably, worth it to wait until rates drop a bit further.
Okay.
The nice thing is there's no appraisal, there's no income verification, there's minimal paperwork, but the goal really is to reduce the interest rate or switch from an adjustable to a fixed rate. So if you're already on a fixed rate, then really the only reason you do it is to drop that rate. And if you're currently at 6 3/4, I would probably wait till rates fall closer to 5.5 or below before you consider doing this.
Perfect. Okay, that's the number.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if there was a magic number. Okay,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for what you do.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for your service to our country, Sheila. Lord bless you. Let's go to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My employer currently offers 401k, which I have been contributing to for a while, and they also offer a Roth. And I'm wondering if I contribute to the Roth, can I get the match to go to the Roth, and will that still be tax-free when I withdraw it?
Yeah. Yes, that wasn't always the case, but you can get the employer match into the Roth. Now, in many cases, my understanding was that the employer contributions go into the traditional. And so, your contribution would go into the Roth, and then your employer match would go into that traditional. I believe they were working on changing that, and I don't know for certain whether that has gone through. So I would call your HR department or the plan administrator and just ask that question, because my understanding is when Secure Act 2.0 that they have the ability now for the employer to match directly into the Roth, but that's not always available. And, if that happened, the contributions would be taxable to you in the year that they're made, and that would be reported on a 1099-R. And then, you would, do that, you get that money going into that Roth. So I would call your plan administrator and just talk through these options, because it does depend a little bit on how their plan is set up as to whether or not the contributions are possible directly into the Roth or whether they have to go into the traditional, and then how the taxation will work on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay, Rick. I like the fact that you're contributing to that Roth 401k, though, regardless of whether or not the employer match hits it. So thanks for your call today. Great question. Let's go to Wisconsin. Hi, Ken. Go ahead.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate your heart for responsible use of our resources financially.
Thank you. Thanks.
I have a question. I've owned a truck that I bought brand new 17 years ago, and it's really beyond its useful life. It's got almost 300,000 miles on it. We bought a newer truck. It's used. It's a 2023, and the gentleman I bought it from is offering me the extended warranty. It's still under warranty for 6 months for the drivetrain, but this extended warranty that he's offering me is $4,000, and it says it covers everything there is. It's got a deductible every time you take the truck in for service if you need it. But everything I've read about this particular company and all extended warranties is less than favorable. And I'm wondering what you think of extended warranties, aftermarket extended warranties on a vehicle.
Yeah. Did you say the reviews on this particular company and or warranty are not good? Is that right?
Yeah, I've heard none of them I read were positive. Yeah. This one included.
I mean, that's generally my take. I think there's going to be some in our audience right now. They're like, wait a minute, I've got an extended warranty and I love it. And it's done everything I hoped it would do, and I've saved thousands. If that's the case, great. That's just not my experience, just generally speaking. They generally, based on the calls I've taken and the people I've talked to and the research I've done, says that the extended warranties cost more than they're worth, and that you're just better off saving that money yourself for future repairs. So if you were to take the cost of the extended warranty and then just create your own car repair fund and, put even $50 to $100 a month, that's going to add up fast, and the money stays whether you use it or not. I mean, these things can run between $1,500 and $3,000. In some cases, they're financed into the car, which means you're paying even more. They just have limited coverage. They don't include the wear and tear stuff. And then they deny claims often based on the fine print. Some of the repairs may already be covered now, and not in this case, because it's an older car, probably not. But there's company risk too. Are they hard to reach? Could they go out of business? I mean, those things, I think when you put it all together, just on the average, I kind of prefer you just holding on to that money yourself personally.
That's what I initially decided after thinking it over. And then I called the fella back that we know each other. They're great people. But I said, hey, can I still get the extended warranty? He said, yeah, that's fine. You can get it for another month or so. Just let me know. And I said, yeah, I could pay for quite a few repairs for between $4,000 and $5,000 for the full coverage thing. And like you said, if I put a little bit aside towards that event, then I'm covered anyway, and I still have the money.
I just think that's a better option at the end of the day. Yeah, absolutely, Ken. Lord bless you. Thanks for calling today. That's going to do it for us today, folks. Hey, check out our website. Support our work there when you click give at faithfi.com, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Faith and Finance is provided by FaithFi and listeners like you.